Hello and good afternoon to all our viewers in Ghana. Thank you for joining us from wherever you may be. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kokomlemle on digital address GAA 0992539. Our leading stories this hour. Health Service investigates waterborne diseases that killed 5 in the East Mamprushi municipality. Well, this afternoon we're learning that the disease is typhoid fever. Over 6,000 members of the Senior Staff Association in 10 public universities have declared an indefinite strike. A 14-year-old JHS student allegedly commits suicide. Join us on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144, and on YouTube, where we stream live. Join us with your opinions on 0540 109009. Let's get to it. Now, the Ghana Health Service in the Northeast region says it has begun an investigation into a suspected waterborne disease at Bunbuazio community in the East Mamprushi municipality. Now, the disease is believed to have caused the death of at least 5 people, and several others are being treated with intestinal infections. The deadly, strange disease has been associated with the community's source of drinking water. The municipal health director of the service, Mark Abugri, said a team had been dispatched to the community to investigate.
Immediately sent my men there to go and then find out what the situation is. And they have gone there. I'm yet to receive the report from them. And as part of the investigation process, when I get a report, we'll further make inquiries at the hospital where the people were said to have gone to get the real situation there before we'll be able to know what exactly we are dealing with. So one, I asked them to go and find out whether indeed those cases that were said to have emanated from their community are there. That is number one. And I've also asked them to try and get some information about the cases that we'll use to follow up at the hospital, to go and find out whether indeed they went to hospital and what was the diagnosis. I think that will let us know exactly what we are dealing with when we get the report.
My colleague Ilyasu Tanku stands by with more from the area. Ilyasu, thank you for joining us. What are we learning from the community about this strange disease?
Well, the investigation by the Ghana Health Service so far has revealed the disease to be typhoid fever. I just had that confirmation from the Municipal Director of Ghana Health Service here, Mr. Mark Abugri, who sent a team yesterday to the community to investigate that particular situation. And so we can confirm that that particular disease that we have been talking about in the Bunbuazio community has now confirmed to be typhoid fever. And as you know already, we have learned that the disease has so far killed 5 persons in that particular community, with several others currently being treated with intestinal infections. So that's the latest coming from that particular community.
Have we determined, or have they determined, that the infection actually originated from the water, or could there be some other source?
Well, I asked the health director the same question, and he said it's highly likely that this particular disease is attributed to the source of drinking water in that particular community. And he, said they have found that where the community, the source of is also an open defecation site, and they have also found some insanitary activities by the residents along this particular stream. It's just a stream, of course. And so they believe strongly that, this is where the disease is coming from, the source of drinking water in that particular community.
Is there an alternative source of drinking water for the people?
When I went to the community, I saw 2 boreholes, a third one, which was under construction as we speak, has been abandoned. And so the community and the 2 boreholes serve about the population of about over 1,000 people. And so clearly the people are saying that these particular boreholes are not enough for them. When I went to the community, I spoke to a lot of women. Because of strict gender rules and cultural norms, women are those that are collecting water in the northern part of the country here. So I spoke with a woman, and they said they have to waste a lot of time at the borehole. Sometimes they have to fight before they get the water, the borehole water to collect. And so to prevent all this, they rely on the stream water for, domestic use and for all purposes, of course, in that particular community. And so clearly, the boreholes, and some of them actually were, one of the boreholes was actually faulty at the time that I went to this particular community. So clearly, the borehole is not enough, and the residents are forced to rely on this particular unwholesome water source.
Right. Are the authorities discussing any plans to get some healthier source of water to the residents, at least in the short term, while the borehole situation is looked at again? Well,
I spoke with the Ghana Health, the director, and he said he has spoken with the municipal chief director, and he has also forwarded this particular report to the regional health director. And so he's expecting the regional director to forward this report to the regional minister. But as we speak right now, and because of where the community is located, a very secluded area, the community started noticing this particular disease in the community since 2019. But because there's no health center, many of them did not go to hospital. And so it was this year that when the situation started to escalate, that they started visiting hospitals, and they were asked not to drink that particular water. And that is how come we now know of the situation in that particular community. And so it's not difficult. It's very difficult because of so many things, especially lack of road to the community, lack of health posts, and other basic amenities. And so that is why the disease have delayed since 2019 when it was detected. It wasn't reported. Only this year that the Ghana Health Service got wind of it and decided to move in with this particular investigation. And so, yes, there's no any other source of water for the community, and they will have to rely on this particular stream, this particular unwholesome source of drinking water until authorities come to their aid.
Eliasu, tell us about the 5 others who are unwell but have not yet become casualties. Tell us, how are they doing? Are they out of danger?
Well, when I went to the community, we visited a couple of them. Those that we visited were young girls, and we do know that the young girls normally help their mothers in collecting water. And so most of the victims are young girls. We visited 2 of them, even though they look, physically fit, but you can see because of the surgery that they conducted, some of them have protruded stomach. Some of them, they are still very, very emaciated, and but they look physically fit. But as we understand, they are still recuperating at home.
Right. Well, we'll certainly stay on this story. So no doubt it's not the last time we'll talk to you about it. Eliasu Tanko from the Northeast region, thank you very much for your time. Now, hundreds of children are still being used by boat owners for fishing activities on Lake Volta. Unlike roads with police checkpoints, the lake rarely sees police patrols to nip this practice in the bud. But Director of Advocacy at the International Justice Mission Ghana, Leonard Akun, and other participants at an IJM training session for some civil society organizations and senior police officers in the northern region want a change. They're pushing for regular police patrols on Lake Volta to reduce the practice where boat owners use children for hazardous work on the lake.
Two years ago, I joined police and some Navy personnel to Edragbota, an island community in the Front Plains. They were on a mission to rescue some children who had been trafficked to the fishing community and engaging in hazardous work on the island. After a long search, one of them was rescued and he shared his story of torture with me. He shared his story of torture with me.
On that day, we did not go with them. One of the children was screaming. He had entered the lake to remove the nets. The man he went with left him. He drowned. I lived in the same house with the boy who died. I told him I was scared, but he allayed our fears. He said nothing will happen to us. We cast the net, we paddle the canoe. He usually beats us on the lake with a rope just to get us to work faster. He does not allow us to go out to play, not even football, with our friends.
Many months after that operation, the situation still persists in other fishing communities. Leonard Akon is the Director of Advocacy for the International Justice Mission. He says regular patrols by the police will help reduce the use of children for fishing on Lake Volta. He says there's still a lot of work to be done, but acknowledges that Ghana has made huge progress.
Regards to child trafficking on the Water Lake, and I've said this again, and I want to raise this issue here again about the need to deploy police patrol boats on the Water Lake, because if you travel on our roads, you would see police checkpoints or you see police patrol vehicles. I mean, the essence of that is to enforce the laws, and so I think it's really critical that we look at deploying police patrol boats on the Water Lake to ensure that no child is being exploited on the lake. They are meant to be in school, they must stay in school, and that they are not being exploited. Children that have been trafficked from their communities, their families, and being exploited in the Water Lake. I think that deployment of the lake to enforce the laws of the lake is critical.
Monica Neti is a lawyer with the International Justice Mission. She has been talking about some of the challenges in getting people punished for using children for hazardous work on Lake Volta.
One of the very crucial challenges, I would say, is the gathering of evidence, properly getting evidence and presenting this to the courts for prosecution. Another thing I would say is the cultural basis on which we would say that, you know, child trafficking is built in this country. And so because of that, you find that sometimes there's the disparity between, is this a cultural situation of a child moving to help someone, or this is actually trafficking? And so just balancing the two is something that the courts have had to do. State attorneys have had to keep pushing, you know, for proper evidence so that the courts could make a decision on it.
Northern Regional Crime Officer Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga says more collaboration will be needed to completely eradicate child trafficking on Lake Volta. He says the training organized by IJM will go a long way to help them in their work.
We need a lot in intelligence gathering. We need a lot in identifying the offenders, that is the suspects. We also need to involve the community and the general public in providing information. And as far as investigations are concerned, we need to collaborate with the media groups, the media houses. Other institutions are also needed here to assist one with the other. IJM has been the forefront in assisting the northern region here in our combat of human trafficking, in assisting to rescue victims and getting shelter for them.
Participants at the end of the two-day program were presented with certificates. They were tasked to apply the knowledge they gained from the program in their daily work.
Now, a 14-year-old student of Miracle Educational Academy at Bakuniaba in the Sunyani municipality of the Bono region has allegedly committed suicide. The final year JHS student, Leticia Chire Pinaman, is alleged to have been found hanging in the school's dining hall by her colleagues on Monday around 9:30 p.m. It's not immediately known what led to the incident, but a note allegedly found on a table near her said, "I'm in pain and sorrow, and I can't live anymore." Let's learn more about this worrying story. Precious Semevo is our Bono correspondent. Precious, what are you learning from the school?
Yeah, so Kwajo, visit to the school indicated that the entire student population, the staff, and all teachers of the school are in pain and keeps wondering and asking themselves what would have affected or what would have caused Leticia, who they described as very, very intelligent, a lively girl, to have taken her own life. The house mistress, Gifty Champon, said that yesterday they had a few challenges with their supper. So they had to allow them by the school's normal activities every Monday, go to their Bible studies. And then when they return, then they come to eat. Now, when they returned, whilst the students went to the dining hall, it was then that she heard shouting of students calling her to come around and see what Leticia has done, only for her to get to the dining hall and saw Leticia hanging by the ceiling of the dining hall. Now, the police in Sunyani, that is the municipal police, they have confirmed the situation and said that the body is in their custody, the regional hospital, waiting autopsy. The family, I must say, are in distraught.
Right, it seems we're struggling with the connection to Precious there, but this is all in the wake of news that a young student in the Bono region has actually committed suicide. We will bring you more on that story. In the meantime, the Northern Regional Police say they have arrested 3 men they believe are members of an armed robbery and kidnapping syndicate operating there. The 3 were picked up in separate hotels. At a news conference, Regional Police Commander COP Timothy Yusa Bonga said intelligence had revealed that the 3 planned to launch armed robbery attacks and kidnappings in several communities in the region.
It was gathered that the suspects were lodging in separate hotels, including Akman Hotel and Last Hotel in Tamale, in preparation to move to Salga, Makango, Bimbala, and Willinsey areas to attack and kidnap people for ransoms. Personnel of the Northern Regional CID raided the 2 hotels on 13th May 2021 at about 7:11 a.m. and arrested 3 suspects. A search conducted on the suspects revealed the following items. Mohammed Umar had in his possession a machete, 1 mobile phone, and cash of 1,500 Ghana cedis. Yusuf Mohammed had in his possession 3 mobile phones, cash of 1,800, and a mobile money of 5,239 cedis on his Momo wallet. Sanda Mohammed, on the other hand, had in his possession 3 mobile phones and cash of 2,561. Suspects will not explain circumstances under which such monies were obtained. They also refused to lead police to their places of abode for further investigations.
This is The Pulse. There's a lot more to come. Stay with us. We're back after these. Welcome back. Now, the Electoral Commission has announced an ambitious project of registering eligible voters all year round. Announcing new proposals for future elections, Electoral Commission Chairperson Jean Mensa says they will be seeking to end voting at 3 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. The Electoral Commission is holding a 2-day election review workshop with political parties and other stakeholders. My colleague Kwekwa Sante has the rest of the story.
The Electoral Commission is touting as a huge success its organization of the 2020 elections. Opposition NDC rejected the outcome of the election and even filed an election petition challenging the results, a petition the Supreme Court dismissed as meritless. At an EC IPAC review workshop, the Commission says its cost-effective decisions saved the country 522 million cedis.
As a nation, we succeeded in saving our dear country a whooping sum of 90 million United States dollars. That is 522 million Ghana cedis, at the time when the cost of elections world over keeps increasing. And mind you, these savings were achieved in spite of additional costs associated with the COVID-19.
EC Chairperson Jean Mensa also claims no cases of COVID-19 were recorded during the registration of voters and the exhibition of the voters' register.
As a country, we were able to undertake all our electoral processes, from the preparation of a brand new voters' register with over 17 million persons in 38 days, through to the exhibition of the register, to the filing of nominations, and to election day, without the spread of the COVID-19 virus. And indeed, no life was lost to COVID-19 as a result of our activities. We need to mark and document the fact that as a result of the stringent safety protocols put in place, the number of reported cases stood at 0 at the end of the registration exercise.
According to the EC, the last election was fully funded by the government without donor support. But there are those who have labeled the 2020 election as the most bloody after 7 people lost their lives across the country. The EC says it cannot be blamed for the violence.
Also is the violence that occurred in about 5 centers and which led to the death of 7 citizens of our dear country. I use this occasion to clarify that the Electoral Commission is not responsible for election security. We need to define clearly, without a shadow of doubt, whose responsibility it is to guarantee security on election day and to place the responsibility on their shoulders.
But for future election, the EC wants polls to close at 3 p.m. instead of 5 p.m.
We propose as a commission to close the polls at 3 p.m. rather than 5 p.m. Again, we propose to do away with the system of periodic nationwide registration exercises and institute an all-round system where citizens who turn 18 or persons who have not previously registered may visit any district's office in Ghana with their Ghana card or passport and register as voters.
This 2-day election review, according to the EC, will allow it to improve future elections together with stakeholders. 8 political parties, including the NPP, were present, but conspicuously missing was the largest opposition, the NDC. The party claims the electoral management body rigged the 2020 election and will be reviewing its working relationship with the EC.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the 2020 campaign of the governing New Patriotic Party agrees with the Electoral Commission to reduce voting hours and close polls at 3 p.m. instead of 5.
Well, I think once the number of polling stations have been increased, which will reduce the number of people or voters per polling station, it will mean that it will take less hours to finish voting. And automatically, when you finish voting, the next major thing is to count. So if we can bring the counting down so that we can count in the full glare of the sun rather than in darkness, and that ultimately also affects the way our collation systems are done. Because when collations are also done in the dark, it creates confusion and problems. So if we can reduce that, I think it can help us. And I know other countries who have bigger numbers like us, because Nigeria has close to 120,000 polling stations with over 80 million registered voters, and they close at 3 and count and finish on time. So it will help make the election more open and transparent in the sun than in the dark when the lights fail us or where there are no electricity at all.
Lawyer for Assin North MP Abraham Amaliba has filed a motion to withdraw as lawyer for the MP. Abraham Amaliba on the 12th of May accused the trial judge, Justice Kwesi Boakye, of bias, an accusation he couldn't substantiate, and the application was dismissed. In court on Tuesday, the lawyer filed a motion saying his continuous presence in the matter as counsel for the MP with a conviction that the judge has predetermined the matter will not augur well for the interest of his client and the administration of justice. He's praying the court to grant his request on the 1st of June when the court will reconvene. Richard Kojo was in court. He joins us now via Zoom. Kojo, thank you for your time. Let's start by perhaps getting a background to this story.
Kojo, on the 12th of May, when the court reconvened, it was decided that they would schedule a time for the judgment to be heard. And so Abraham Amaliba did not file the written submission. All the other parties submitted. And so the lawyers for the Electoral Commission did their written submissions, as well as the lawyer for the applicant also did same. But Abraham Amaliba instead came with a motion that was challenging the credibility of the judge. He said that the judge, Justice Kwesi Boakye, had been biased. Where he is coming from is that the judge had said in the previous sitting that the MP for Assin North should have filed all the necessary documents before filing with the Electoral Commission. And that comment, Abraham Amaliba felt that the judge had predetermined the matter and was prejudicial of us to the matter, and so that's why he filed the motion. But that motion he couldn't substantiate, and so the matter was struck out. And then there was another application that was also filed by Abraham Amaliba that bordered on the same matter, and so it was scheduled to be heard today. And then today, when they came to court, he had.
Right, we're going to try and reconnect with Kojo Nyakon. Got a bit of a sketchy connection there. We have you back, Richard. Can you actually take us to the very beginning and give us the background to the story? What led these parties to court?
Okay, so what led these parties to court was that an applicant from the Assin North constituency, a resident of the Assin North MP, filed the matter in court at the Cape Coast High Court, challenging the eligibility of the MP for Assin North from holding himself as such. In fact, he says that at the time the MP was filing his nomination to contest, he held a dual citizenship. He was a citizen of Canada and was at the same time a citizen of Ghana. And so based on that, he took the matter to court. So the matter has been in court for some time now. On the 12th of May, when the parties involved were supposed to file their written submissions, the lawyer for the Assin North MP did not file his written submission, but instead he came to court with an application. So 2 applications he filed on the 12th of May. First one was an application for the judge to recuse himself, Justice Kwesi Boakye, to recuse himself. He alleged that the judge in their previous sitting had made some comment he deemed prejudicial to the matter that is currently being heard in the court. And so he was praying that the judge would recuse himself. But the judge said that he had not said anything of a sort in court. Neither are there reports in court indicating that he had said anything that predetermined the matter that is in court. And so failure on the part of Mr. Abraham Amalba to substantiate the matter, the judge refused that application. And then there was another application that was filed by Abraham Amalba for a stay of proceedings. He had filed some processes in the appeals court on the same matter, and so he wanted the court to either stay the matter, so that if the court was going to stay the matter, then it means that the matter would be held in abeyance pending the decision by the appeals court. But that was supposed to be determined today. And then today he comes in with another motion praying the court to grant him the opportunity to withdraw as the lawyer for the Assin North MP. In that case, it means that he can no longer hold himself as such. He's indicated that he's told his client, the Assin North MP, that he should look for another lawyer to stand for him, because he can no longer be in a matter that has been predetermined by the judge who is sitting on the case.
Thank you for that. Let's now hear from a member of the legal team for the Assin North MP.
Mr. Amalba, who is the lawyer for the first respondent, has filed a motion to withdraw from the matter because he still believes that there's a likelihood of bias, though his application was refused the last time. And he thinks that with that mindset as a lawyer or a counsel for the first petitioner in the case, it will not serve the interests of his client, and it will not serve his interest either. And so it is proper for him to withdraw from the matter and allow the first respondent to look for a different lawyer to replace him. Because of that, the application for stay of proceeding, which was adjourned to today for motion, is also adjourned, because with this application pending, Lawyer Amalba no longer have the permission or the instruction or the authority of the first respondent to represent him. And so he has no authority to move the application that was filed in his instance. That's the application for stay of proceedings. And so that is also adjourned to 1st June. Now, the adjournment to 1st June is for Mr. Amalba to move his motion for withdrawal from the matter, after which I believe the judge will fix a date for motion of the application for stay of proceedings.
Right, so let's go back to Kojo Nyako, our correspondent, who was there in court today. So has his application been approved? Is he now removed as a representative of the defendant?
Well, so the applicant, could you come again?
I'm asking if Abraham Amalba's application has been approved. Has he now been withdrawn as representative?
No, so that matter will be moved in court on the 1st of June. Now, he can no longer do anything that is connected to the current case, but he has the opportunity to move that motion before the court on the 1st of June. But when this matter cropped up, the applicants were not happy. They felt that it was some delay tactics, a ploy that has been employed by the lawyer to delay the course of justice, a representative of the applicant.
Right. So let's hear from the other applicant now.
There was an application before the court. That application came from the lawyers of the first respondent, Mr. Jachikwesin, where they had asked for stay of proceedings. So that application was slated for hearing today. Only for us to appear in court to have an application filed by a lawyer for the respondent, saying that he wants to withdraw from the case. Though I'm not a lawyer, but all that we know is that a lawyer could have appeared before the judge today to tell the judge that indeed he is taking over from lawyer Ibrahim Amalba as the new lawyer for the first respondent. But he decided to put in an application, and that application is slated for 1st June. This is a clear attempt by the first respondent and his legal team to delay the case. But we are confident that the key people will say that no matter what they do, we are of the view that the case is going to be dealt with expeditiously so that the final judgment will be given.
Right. So, Kojo Nyako, what are we to expect the next time these parties appear in court?
Okay, two things. On the 1st of June, lawyer Ibrahim Amalba would move the motion in court. So we will see whether the court will grant that he withdraws from the case, from becoming or from being the lawyer for the Assin North MP or otherwise. The second is a decision to be taken on the state of proceedings that has been filed. And so we do not know whether the court will grant the wishes of Mr. Abraham Amalba to stay away from the case, or he would allow, or he will rule that he should continue the case. But because they cannot tie his hands to the case, maybe by that time, the counsel for the respondent, the Assin North MP, would look for another lawyer, or the court will give them that space of time to go and look for another lawyer to come and move that application for the stay of proceedings.
Thank you for that. Richard Kojo Nyako is our Central Regional Correspondent. Now, over 6,000 members of the Senior Staff Association in 10 public universities have declared an indefinite strike. They are protesting the government's failure to pay accumulated Tier 2 pension contributions, award of market premium and non-basic allowance of members. The association is unhappy with the government's failure to heed to their grievances. Leadership of the association from all 10 public universities declared the strike at a meeting at KNUST. There's more in this report by Ohiming Teria.
The senior staff accused government of deliberately breaching the National Pension Act by refusing to pay their monthly contributions plus interest to members of the association since 2010. Leadership of the association from all the 10 public universities converged at KNUST to declare the strike, taking immediate effect. Zakaria Mohammed is the national president.
In furtherance to our letter dated 7th May 2021, served on the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, declaring our intention to embark on an industrial action, I wish on behalf of the National Executive Council to announce the complete is the operational word, underline, the complete withdrawal of services by members of the Senior Staff Association, University of Ghana, with immediate effect until all the following protracted demands are resolved. 1, payment of our Tier 2 pension arrears with accrued interest as agreed, spanning from 2010 to 2016. 2, award of market premium and non-basic allowance. And 3, the finalization of negotiation on our conditions of service by Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. All members of Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, are therefore required to lay down their tools until further notice.
The Senior Staff Association announced the introduction of a task force on all the 10 campuses to ensure full compliance to the strike. Mr. Zakaria says any member who flouts the orders of the leadership faces expulsion from the association.
We have given all basic schools, hospitals, fire service, security 1 week. 1 week. If government of Ghana does not respond to the demands, we withdraw, total withdrawal. In fact, security will go, fire service will go, basic schools will go, everybody will go. And by extension, we are also adding that no skeletal staff is going to be left in the office of any principal office. Even if you are a medical doctor in the office of a vice chancellor and you were in the middle of your surgical operation, ladies and gentlemen, you are supposed to leave. You are supposed to leave. Yes. A task force is going to be put in place Any campus that violate the directives of the National Executive Council will be suspended, will be highly suspended. Those universities will be seen as enemies of senior staff of public universities in Ghana and will be dealt with accordingly.
Members providing essential services such as those in basic schools, campus security and fire service are expected to join the strike from next week. The association, however, warned any attempts by government to victimize its members would be resisted.
I don't think there's going to be any victimization. The strike is legal. We've written to the Labour Commission of Ghana, and the law requires us to notify them 7 clear working days, which we have done, and there's nothing illegal about it. If anybody tries to victimize any of our members, our association slogan is touch one, you touch all. It's not going to happen. Want the federal university to be completely shut down. Let them victimize a single soul, not even a file that belongs to a member of senior staff. Yes. It will incur the wrath of the National Executive Council.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oimintivia reporting.
Drivers.
Later, we're going to get reactions from the National Labour Commission. Now, hundreds of illegal structures along the Graphic Road, Ordona and Accra Central have been demolished by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council. Now, this forms part of measures to deal with flooding and congestion. There's more in the following report.
The task force, made up of military personnel, cleared the scraps parked on the Graphic Road as part of a decongestion exercise by the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council. Squatters who thrived with their heaps of scrap at the edges of the Down Lagoon have complained about the eviction from the area by a task force undertaking a cleanup exercise in the city. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey, says this exercise is part of an elaborate plan to make Accra work.
When you drive here in the evening, the waste that they generate alone is a problem. And I am mindful of the June 3rd disaster. I don't know whether some of you were there. It is something that we want to say never again. The rains are about to set in, and all they do from here, where is their waste bin? Nothing. They carry the rubbish, they go and put it in the door. And then when there's a flood, they come back and say, government is not doing anything. So I think that, as I've been saying, the media should help us to work together, not to, as it were, make it look like we are doing something bad.
So after clearing the place, do you have plans for the place? Or?
Yes, indeed, we are.
Can you tell us what?
Oh, we always go step by step. You will see, we'll sustain it. There's a plan to turn the median into greenery and all that. So as time goes on, there's a plan. We'll roll it one by one.
Most of them have plans of coming back.
Oh, they will not come back. Mark my words, they will not. If they come back, 10 times, we'll move them 20 times. They will not. They dare not. They will not. We will move them. If it means coming here every day to move them, we'll do so. Because there will be another task force to go around. Every structure that they erect, we'll bring it down. Thank you.
MC for Kole Klote Ni Ej Terrier has given further details on areas targeted for the next exercise.
To Accra Brewery from Central Police Station area. So it's constant engagement. We have started, and we've started with the markets and the lorry station. This is a special exercise led by the RCC, Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council. So we have a lot of security agencies supporting us. But this is something we'll be doing regularly, like I said. But their numbers is overwhelming. And that is why you see them on the street. I believe with this push, we'll be able to make sure people mind the place from early in the mornings, maybe even on shift basis, to make sure they don't return. Because this is not something that just happened. It has been, like you said, some of them have been here for some time. Yeah.
But according to them, this is impromptu. Why do you wake up one morning and then start demolishing structures when you could have given them time to make up?
That is not the case. Like I said, the numbers of them. So it's something we are doing on a regular basis. We have our works engineer here we go out sometimes over weekends in the evenings. We take photographs of these places and we do them. It's the sheer number of them in this particular area. But we are doing, it's the whole municipality. You have to go to Oxford Street, Salam down, some residential areas, and this sort of slums are, springing up. So there is the sheer number of number of places involved, and the actual number of people even at the places. So with this push here, we have to make sure they don't come again.
The task force also cleared unauthorized structures at the railway quarters, also situated along the Graphic Road.
This is The Pulse. There's more to come. Stay with us. We're back after these. Welcome back. Now, yesterday, CEOs from Ghana's biggest companies met in Accra at the CEO Summit to discuss how to navigate problems affecting business growth in the country. Now, what topped the discussions was cybersecurity. Experts at the summit preached a move from cybersecurity to cyber resilience in a bid to get companies to be safe as they go digital with their businesses. Now, joining us in the studio right now is Dr. Bright Mawudor. He's the head of Managed Security Services at Dimension Data. He delivered a presentation at the summit. Dr. Mawudor, is nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Right, so cybersecurity.
Yes.
Now you're preaching cyber resilience.
Yes.
Talk to us about why this is important and why this should be the next focus for any business.
Right now we have a situation whereby we have everything is digital. We are moving from cybersecurity to cyber resilience. Why? Because we have been focusing on protection of our digital systems and infrastructures. However, we need to start thinking about what could possibly happen to this digital infrastructure and how do we recover quickly. Because the amount of time that you spend trying to recover quickly will be the difference between you sustaining your business and actually getting online. So we are trying to, so resilience is being able to identify, protect, recover, respond, and be able to protect your infrastructure. So that's where we're moving to. We've been focusing too much on firefighting. We need to start focusing on how do we even try to remediate these processes before they happen to us again.
Now, every time we talk about things like cybersecurity, many are led to the conclusion that it's a specialist area. I mean, you hire someone who knows about it to deal with it.
Yes.
I'm not a lawyer. I can't possibly start to deal with my company's own legal framework. I'll bring in a lawyer or an accountant where necessary. People think about cybersecurity in the same way, but your submission is that everyone should be interested in the detail of it.
Every single person. Now, these days, you need to get people or cyber experts on the board level, not just senior management, on the board level to be able to drive the conversation as to how do we get to let everybody be part of the conversation. We have been letting this to be the technical person's job, but no. So the senior management has to be part of it. The board level has to be part of it. They need to understand what are the risks, what are the assets of greatest risk that we have, and where are we standing actually when it comes to cybersecurity. So it's a conversation that needs to involve every single person, not just technical people in the organization as it used to be, or it's being outsourced. I mean, I like it being outsourced, but they have to be able to interpret or even understand the basics of what cyber resilience really is. Otherwise, you'll be sitting in dark trying to figure out how things are working.
So we're now moving from compliance-based security to risk-based security. Explain that move.
Everybody right now wants to follow regulatory processes. That is great. It used to be the thing of, I have to do security assessment this year and produce a report. I have to do some sort of audit, produce a report. So you're following guidelines which are okay. But we need to start moving what you call risk-based approach, where you want to know what's your risk appetite, what is the risk profile, what am I trying to protect, before you even know how much money you're going to spend. Otherwise, you'll be answering the questions to the CFO every time. You're always bringing in new product, new services. You want to buy firewall today, tomorrow you want to buy firewall 2, firewall 3. Where is where is the money going to? So you also don't want to spend too much on things that you don't understand. That's why we say we have to do what you call a risk profiling, know your risk appetite, know what to call the mean time to remediation, and then from there, even know what to call the cost to what exactly you want to actually focus on. So this year, focus on these elements. Next year, focus on that element, but still be able to be resilient. You see where I'm coming from? So we're not firefighting every day. We are trying to make sure that we have things streamlined down. We have exactly what we're supposed to do to make sure that we are actually safe.
Dr. Maudo, what's the future of cyber resilience here in Ghana?
We still have a long way to go. I feel like there's a lot of conversations about cyber resilience or cybersecurity as most people look at it, but we need to start making sure that we are actually implementing this. I'm happy to see the government being heavily involved, especially from the financial sector. However, we need to start looking at other sectors, which is health, for example, where they're having customer data. Everything is data-based. Everything has to involve some sort of data. Who is actually thinking of how to actually keep those data safe? For a patient, for example, everything's going digital. We're looking at the fintechs and the likes. We need to start making sure that everybody is actually involved. There's more dialogue, more conversation, more awareness to every single person to make sure that they are all involved in this kind of drive conversation. We're looking at connectivity, which is, we were looking at 3G, 4G. Now 5G is actually becoming a big thing. And very soon, 5G coming to Ghana is going to make things faster. That gives cyber criminals more leverage to be able to do things faster. So we need to start also having conversations. Everybody needs to be aware and know the risks that are involved. How can they be compliant? How can they know their risk appetite, like I said before, and make sure they have ways to be able to mitigate some of these things before they happen. Yes.
In the US, there was a big cyber attack that has led to fuel shortages.
Yes.
Sometimes you sit in this part of the world and think, well, if that could happen to the US.
That is true.
Then is there even any point of us, trying to secure our, cyberspace? The US couldn't do it. What hope do we have?
One fact we need to come up with, or we need to be aware of, is that we can't stop everything. That is why you need to make sure that you get to a level of security that makes sure that you are a little bit safe. So don't just stay sitting ducks thinking you can't be hacked. You will be hacked someday. It's a matter of when. So, like I said, nobody ever thinks they'll be a victim of a cyber attack until it happens to them. Look at it, the easiest way people have been hacked this way, which is what you call the ransomware. Ransomware is what happened to the United States, and they lock their systems, asking them to pay for it. And it can happen to anybody. It's happening to people, they're just not talking about it, to be honest with you. So it's coming through various basic things such as emails. It's because somebody is not aware, they don't know what tools to buy, they don't know what system to implement, or they haven't even trained their employees on these basic things. So they click on anything and everything. So we are all going to be a victim. We are already victims, and even you right now, if I was to get my laptop right now, I can send an email from you to somebody else. It will come as true. And it's very easy to do. It's not that difficult. I can do that in 10 seconds. And that is a thing that, do people know that it can happen? So we need to start making sure that that awareness is there from the top all the way to the general user in the organization. Needs to be trained, needs to be aware that these things can happen, can be actually see it happening and be able to make sure that they change their ways and culture. It's a culture change to take some time, just the way we never all used to use landlines, now we use mobile phones. It's the same way we need to start changing our mindset to be always security aware and knowing that we can always report exactly what we are seeing when we see something happening.
Dr. Maudo, thanks for educating us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Scaring us a little bit as well. We need it. Dr. Bright Maudo is the head of Managed Security Services at Dimension Data. He delivered a presentation at the Ghana CEO Summit. Now, Ghana's land management systems are saddled with complex lapses, which have led to the creation of a monster enterprise popularly known as landguardism. Now, in our latest Hotline documentary, my colleague Latif Idris explores how the new Land Act could help sanitize a system that has fueled family and clan conflicts and led to the killings of many prospective landowners. Latif Idris has the precursor, which focuses on steps being taken by the Lands Commission to cut back on fraudulent acts by landowners and personnel of the Commission.
What's it like? What's it like? What's it like? Fire him! Fire him! Fire him! Shot him! Shot him! Shot him! Shot him!
Everybody knows these criminals are called landguards. They are doing it with the support of the Police Divisional Commander, ACPJ.
The real estate industry in Ghana has witnessed a boom in recent years. Land remains the most important commodity for the housing industry, so investors in the sector have been dealing with many litigants.
One of the elements I would like to call upon the government to look into, to take action in particular, of course, for all these projects, is the land rights thing. Without guaranteed possession of land, security about land, certainty about land, simply the attraction of investment, and in particular foreign investment, remains a problem. If you are not sure about your investment, you are not going to come. So that, I think, is still a main issue. We have many problems, but I think that is still one of the main ones.
Mrs. Margaret Champong of Asimba Chambers has represented a number of clients, including CFC Construction West Africa, in court over land ownership tussles.
The CFC land was acquired by the ancestors of the present managing director of CFC in 1955. And it was a lease. A lease for 99 years, gave them documents which states clearly that he gave the land to them as head of Onamrukwadan family with the consent and concurrence of the principal elders of the family. Fortunately or unfortunately, this head of family died in 1968. It was after his death, that's Dr. C. Rindov died in 1968. It was after his death that they found out that he had made a will, and in his will, he had willed this land granted to CFC Construction and Furniture Limited to his daughter and nephew. The land which did not belong to him personally, he had willed it to his daughter and nephew, which was illegal and fraudulent.
Now, because of the manual processes, sometimes it is difficult to detect at first, but you can find it out later. Because the way we do our recording here, it's not just one record. Because, for instance, in registration, we have several registers that we use. Say, for example, a name register, a location register. We have a subject register. We have numbers register. So for each that one transaction has about a number of registers, which you can cross-check. Now, if someone does this type of forgery and you go, you see that there will be inconsistencies because they cannot change all the registers at the same time, even over a period of time.
They cannot?
They cannot. They cannot. You may be able to do it for one, but even the way the registers are done is difficult for you to forge because it comes in a serial form. So the first transaction could be Abosukai, the second transaction could be East Legon, the third transaction could be Labadi. So when you are forging and using the serial number of that, I mean, you will be caught.
Many families, clans, too, and government lands have either been encroached or dubiously sold by unscrupulous minds who have taken advantage of the situation.
One of the things that we have, this law provides for, is for a future systematic way of defining the boundaries of every land, of any owner of land in the country. And in such, we are in the process of having legislative instruments done to ensure that the Lands Commission provides expertise and assistance to customary authorities to demarcate the boundaries of their land. So if there are disputes, those can be resolved. Then we know that if you are buying land, this is registered in the name of Chief A or Chief B.
So the repeat of that documentary on illegal land guardism will be on tonight at 6:30 p.m. Make sure you don't miss it on this channel. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu Jinapor, together with some top military officials, are touring the country's water bodies to assess the progress achieved 2 weeks after the deployment of military task force to halt activities of illegal miners. Now, the minister has been engaging some community members, including opinion leaders, along with the river bodies, particularly the Pra River, which cuts across the central, eastern, western and Ashanti regions. The government has declared river bodies and forest reserves as red zones or no-go areas. Kwesi Parker-Wilson is on that tour. He joins us now with some updates. Kwesi, how has the message of the minister been received so far?
Well, Kojo, one would say quite positive, because the minister consistently was telling the youth, especially at Enyinim, where he gathered some of the youth there, that the president does not intend to render the youth jobless or perhaps collapse the businesses of individuals, but rather what he wants to do is to streamline activities of small-scale mining, and indicated that the president is not against small-scale mining, but rather against mining activities that are affecting or polluting our water body. So the youth, for them, said that, well, they agree that indeed the activities are destroying our land and also polluting our water bodies. And as a matter of fact, they will support the activities of government or government effort in the fight against illegal mining. And Kojo, as you see from your screen, the level of devastation is just amazing. If you fly up in the air or you're in the skies, that is where you get a better appreciation of how polluted our water bodies are. And so the youth themselves agree that indeed they've seen some of these things within their communities. In fact, some of them even told us that some of the abandoned mining sites have claimed about 10 lives within 2 months. And that was quite shocking for the minister. And so he appealed to them that if they get to know of any individual who are mining illegally, they should quickly report that person to the leadership so that they can quickly take action. So clearly one can say that the youth indeed were in support of the activities by government.
Right. Now, Kwesi, tell us, the youth obviously must have had some concerns that they communicated in response to the minister. What were they?
Okay, so the response essentially has been that the burning or the distractions of mining equipment and excavators, that is what they disagree with the government and the minister. They are asking government and the minister to just seize these machines, deploy them to the assembly, so that when they are in need, then the assembly can now deploy them to areas that they are in need to construct, help in the construction of roads and other things. So all they are saying is that, well, we agree with you on the fight, but then we disagree with you on the approach, that is distraction of the mining activity. Well, the minister said that for him, as far as they have issued a warning that they will destroy it continuously, they will ensure that the military tasked to halt activities of illegal miners indeed do burn these excavators and the mining equipment, if indeed they get them on site, because they have already issued warnings, they have issued caution, and even given people prior notice when they are coming to their area. So he doesn't understand why you will still keep your excavator or mining equipment at the site. The moment they get there and it's there, they are definitely going to destroy it.
Right, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, thank you very much for that update.
But Kojo, before you go, quickly, you know that yesterday there was this revelation about the renewal of license by the NPP National Women Organizer. She is the manager of Extra Gold Mining Company Limited. And just on Sunday, the military men were at Etiwa. That is where she mines. They destroyed or burnt 20 of her excavators. Yesterday, the spokesperson was on Newsnight, on Top Story, I should say, indicating that, in fact, their licenses have been renewed. Just a while ago, I spoke to the minister, and I must say we just arrived in Accra and at the airport now. I spoke to the minister, and then he tells me that since he became the sector minister, that was in March 5, he has not renewed or issued any mining permit to any individual. So it is surprising that Extra Gold Mining Limited would today say that they have their license renewed. And this was done on the 24th of March, 2021. The minister was sworn into office on the 5th of March, 2021. So it tells you it was almost about 2 weeks after he became a minister. He says he's not done any of that, and he's going to call for a probe into how they got the license. And again, has said that, well, the military did what they had to do. They'll investigate if indeed they'll have to have any compensation or perhaps anything that they need to do about this issue. They will definitely do it. But tomorrow, there will be a press conference to detail or brief the country on how far we've gotten to in the fight against illegal mining.
Well, we look forward to that press conference. Kwesi Parker-Wilson, thank you very much for that update. Now, let's go back to our earlier story where over 6,000 members of the Senior Staff Association in 10 public universities declared an indefinite strike. Now, they're protesting the government's failure to pay accumulated Tier 2 pension contributions, award of market premium, and non-basic allowance of members. Joining us on the phone is Ofosu Asamoah. He's the head of the National Labour Commission. Mr. Ofosu Asamoah, thank you for your time. So the associations have declared their intentions. What's the reaction of the Labour Commission?
As soon as they give an indication of the strike, with the intent to embark on the payments are not made. We sought enforcement of our directive that it doesn't result in strike. So I wrote to the Finance Ministry and the other relevant ministries, under which they come under. Luckily, by the 10th of May, it was somewhere last week, the Minister of Finance issued a letter to the controller to pay the Tier 2 pension. Of course, which was the first and the most important on the three issues they brought. The next two have to do with the payment of their market premium, that's the negotiation of their market premium, and the non-basic allowance, as well as the fair wages and salaries, and making them on their conditions of service. They had indicated that the fair wages was delayed. Fair wages also said they were waiting for a mandate from the Ministry of Finance, but some offer has been made against which, alongside which we were negotiating. So for the first one, which is the Tier 2, we know that the ministry has complied. The second and third negotiations are not going on. And because of the other business, they're needing them this morning to see the way forward. So it's a bit not too surprising, but I thought that they would exercise a little patience. I must admit, the Labour Commission has told them that made in directive. We were expecting compliance, except that sometimes things to do with finance are a bit difficult on the side of government sometimes, especially around this time. And surprisingly, almost all the 6 university bodies are threatening strike and making financial demands. You know, you go to Twitter, they have given notice of the Union of University Administrators have also given notice. TU also gave notice. I've talked about TUTAG, TU, Senior Staff Association, the administrators. In the case of UTAG, negotiations are going on. They have not issued any threat of that. But you can see that about 5 to 6 unions and everybody is demanding money in the university. And especially, you know, government deals with the universities, it deals with other public institutions. So while we give our directive expecting compliance, we are following it up to make sure that one of the 3 has been done, the 2 are ongoing. So we will be inviting them and possibly see the way forward so that they will return. Because I want to talk about the Tier 2. That's one I know that the controller has worked on it.
Right. Now, obviously, for this to have got to the point where they are seeking to take action through a strike, these issues must have been bubbling for some time. How does the National Labour Commission explain the fact that they have been unable to resolve these matters? Have you been involved?
We have resolved. If you go to court and your case is heard, and the court gives this ruling or decision, they have resolved the matter. Except that the matter goes in one way or the other. And the case whom it goes is to expect them to comply or perform. So it is not that the court wasn't able to resolve the matter. Perhaps after the resolution, what was supposed to be done was what was not done by one of the parties, right? So for National Labour Commission, we have resolved the matter. But except that, you know, we are not the traditional court, so that when it comes to time like this, we still will engage the parties because labor relations are continuing relations. When the problem is solved, they will still be employees of the government. The government will have a relationship, so we don't want the antagonistic types of dispute resolution. So we will still engage them. Yes, we gave a direct. They are entitled to this, give it to them. It wasn't given. Why? Oh, we were constrained. We didn't have money. Now we have it. Especially when the directive for the payment was made by the finance ministry to the controller before the declaration of the strike. So at least there's some demonstration, except that it may have delayed. But if it has been delayed and now it is made, and you insist on the strike, who are you punishing? Are you punishing the Ministry of Finance or government who delayed payment, or the student body and other beneficiaries of their direct service from the university? So we look at this and try to see reasons. I know they are amenable to good reasons for it. It's not a difficult thing.
All right. Well, Mr. Owusu Asamoah, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Yes, that's it.
Right. Now, in September 2018, we told the story of 2 senior high school graduates who converted an abandoned poultry farm into a school to support the underprivileged children at Danyame Kwanyem in the Ashanti region. Now, today, a 7-unit ultra-modern classroom block has been commissioned for the children. Let's take you down memory lane as the story was reported by JoyNews' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
Now to Obenemasi Danyame in the Ashanti region, where 2 second cycle school graduates have converted poultry farm into a school to support underprivileged children. Learning in such environment can be equated to a shouting competition between teachers as 2 different classes share dilapidated classroom. As JoyNews' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin report, graduating from one class to another is as easy as taking a step.
A few policy used for poultry farm, and then as we told the owner of it, he said he's no more using it again. And then he hung it over to us that we should use it until we get a better place, and then we move to our place.
With little resources, they have learned to share. Classes 1 and 2 occupy a room without any demarcation. Lessons are conducted simultaneously. These are children who are tasting formal education for the first time in many years. The only school in the area is too far away from this community, but parents prefer to keep their children safe at home. None of them is in school uniform or wears decent sandals. Their faces, however, show extreme anxiety to get education. The structure is not good, especially when it rains, and children mostly want to climb these cocoa trees, an act which nearly caused their eviction.
When we started, the children were climbing the cocoa trees here, and then that one too was a challenge. That
they have learned over time to ignore the noise. Not even our cameras could disrupt their zeal and desire to learn. Those in class 1 will graduate not to the next class, but to the other side of a room for class 2.
The story of Kwanyem Danyame in the Asante Achim Central District has changed. This new school block is focused on changing the lives of the rural children. Through the gesture of philanthropist Mrs. Tudusia Jackson, parents at Kwayam Danyame are determined to make the best out of the school.
I had a great compassion to come and help this community because I learned that from this cocoa growing area to the next town, Obenimase, is 6 kilometers, and the road was horribly bad. So because of that, the parents feared they would leave their small children to walk this distance on that bad road to Obenimase. Therefore, they were not sending the children to school. They were just accompanying them to their cocoa farms and roaming about.
School na sase no say papa adawroma so yemo ma ja paja adwuma no smade no na first na yakura yani na say e benya ne say eso nyame tuminti ya yadru no mi stre nyame pai bo say nyame bekan ho na say de mi gira no mi gira pinti na mi menka awufo nyina embom. The
school has a toilet facility for children and teachers as well. It has a constant water supply system. 9 people teachers were awarded full scholarship to further their education at Jackson College of Education. Emmanuel Aboguri, who volunteered to teach at the abandoned poultry structure, is one of the beneficiaries.
They're assisting the children until Mama Jackson came and then started to build a new school for us here. But being there, we faced a lot of problems because the children were scattered in one room and then teachings were not going on well as compared to the new building here that they have given unto us.
So the teachers are also given a monthly allowance for teaching at Kwayam Danyame to motivate them.
I want to see them transformed.
Richard Abuaji Frimpong is the head teacher.
In fact, this is going to help change the lives of the people through quality education. And we are assuring the people that we will also do our best to give quality education to the children.
Reverend Emmanuel Dela Tiga initially suggested the use of the abandoned poultry farm as a classroom to save the children from journeying 2 hours to school. He is excited at the transformation.
I was not expecting this institution. I was not expecting this building at all. Actually, I was just thinking anything that the children can be able to just sit in to learn. But this building was fantastic. I wasn't expecting Mama Jackson to start this building here. But
residents are full of praise for the exceptional support by Mrs. Tudusia Jackson to break the unhealthy rural-urban dichotomy in accessing quality education. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
A very strong foundation. Generation. We are laying foundation. A very strong foundation for the children.
Now, jubilant supporters from Drobo Senior High School besieged the Sunyane Technical University Auditorium after their school successfully qualified to the finals of this year's National Science and Maths Quiz in Accra. Now, they beat Salvation Army SHS and Winchi SHS by 39 points to advance to the next stage of the competition. But this mood is in sharp contrast to what their contestant Daniel Bisu felt while on stage. He says he had to say silent prayers, while on stage to be able to overcome his stage fright.
Okay, so the second day of qualifiers in the Bono cluster of regions, and this school all the way from the Bono region has qualified for the national stage. Drobo Senior High School, Drosek as they are called. Drosek. 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 Mary Mama. Okay, congratulations guys. How does it feel? I'm not seeing any lady here. Why? Is your school a boys' school? Come. The ladies come here. Why are you hiding? Great. How do you feel about your win today?
I feel great.
Okay. You feel great. Just great. Do you think that you're going to win?
Yeah.
What made you think that you're going to win?
Everything.
Everything like what? Tell me. What?
Like we are ready. We are ready for it. So And we've had it.
Okay,
yeah.
You're ready for it and you've had it. What about you?
Oh, we will win. We will win.
You have won the first one. You won by 39 points. Do you think that this is what you were expecting to get?
No, we expect to get high. So we will win the next time.
You win again the next time. Let me bring Danny. Danny, come closer. Danny, come closer. Congratulations. You're on the stage. I saw you answering the questions quite intelligently and all that. What was going through your mind on stage?
Okay, nothing was disturbing me, but at the beginning it was the crowd that was putting much fear on me. But when we finished the first round, I was able to overcome that.
Okay, so you initially had stage fright, correct?
Yeah.
But how did you handle it?
I just pray.
Okay.
Pray silently to the Almighty, and He did that.
So silent prayers on the stage, that's your magic trick that you did on stage to win?
Yeah.
Your partner, you used to come closer. What's your name?
Your boy Techi Milfred.
Okay, your boy Techi. Tell me, what does this win mean to you?
So we put more things in place in our learning or studying. So that is the reason why we are able to win this contest.
Okay, so what does it mean to you? Are you excited about the win? What are you going to do differently as you go into the championship and even into the national tournament?
I'm very excited, and
more than excited.
Yeah, more than excited, and we will put things well in order to prepare for the next contest and the national.
What should we expect from you?
The best.
Apart from the best, because everybody's saying that expect the best from me, expect the best from me. Since yesterday we were in the Bono region, everybody is saying expect the best from me. What is really different about the best we should expect from you?
So the great things that we do. We do wonders.
You do wonders? Yes. Okay, Drosek.
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 Mary Mama.
They say we should expect the best from them. These are the guys from Drobo Senior High School, and they have won the very first contest on the second day. Wish them all the best. We'll be bringing you more as we move on.
Let us embrace Super Drosek in fraternal unity. Raise the banner of our alma mater.
So Drobo SHS joins Our Lady of Mount Carmel Girls SHS, Kintampo SHS, and Techiman SHS, as well as Nkranza SHS. They all won on the first day of qualifiers. All right, coming up, sports. Stay with us. It comes after these.
Welcome to Sports on Pulse. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Mount likely to be in action later tonight when his side Chelsea comes up against Leicester City. They are all competing for a place in the top four of the English Premier League. Let's take a look at the fixtures that will be happening later today as well as tomorrow. And on Tuesday night, you have Manchester United, whose second place is already secured. They'll come up against Fulham. Southampton will play Leeds United. Brighton and Hove Albion will host Manchester City, runaway champions. They've already celebrated the title success. Whilst Chelsea, who are currently fourth on the Premier League table, will host Leicester, who sit third on the table with just 2 points over Chelsea. On the top six, as you can see, is Manchester City, who have got 83 points, and Manchester United have got 70 points. Leicester City, who are third on the league table, have got 66 points. Chelsea, fourth, have got 64. Liverpool have got 63, and Tottenham Hotspur have got 59 points. That is how the top six looked like in the English Premier League. But by close of day, there could be drama in who finishes fourth and fifth, because Chelsea will play Leicester City. Should Chelsea win, Chelsea will move into third place on 67 points. Should Leicester win, Leicester will continue to be third on 69 points. And what it means is that Liverpool, who are also seeking to finish in the top four, must have a victory tomorrow if they are to anywhere finish within the top four in the Premier League table. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, and this has been the Sports on Pulse, and we've got more stories to share with you on my joyonline.com/sports.
Right, well, this is where we draw our show to a close, but news never ends, so why don't you pay a visit to myjoyonline.com. Find out what's happening with all the bigger stories. For example, EC not to blame for violence deaths during the 2020 polls. That's according to the EC chair, Jean Mensah. Also, those who created the national security monster have lost control. That's what security expert Kwesi Ening is saying. Also, I was traumatized by police sirens. That's Koku Anyidohu, who spoke on the Super Morning Show about his national security ordeal. Also, final year SHS student allegedly commits suicide at Bakunyaba. Right, these and more on myjoyonline.com. But stay with us for the duration, because coming up next, we're taking you live to the Information Ministry, where Kojo Opong Nkrumah is about to address the media.